Hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, good. I can hear you too and I can see you. I'm Laurence, pleased to meet you. How are you today?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm doing very well. So would you like to have a conversation in English
Yes,
to try
please.
things out? Yeah, really happy to. I can hear your English is absolutely brilliant. You must be
Oh, you understood that from two words?
well, I understood it from two words, but also that you didn't put a face as if to say, I don't understand. You understood what I was saying. So something must be working. Are you studying English at the moment?
Yes, I've been studying English for 5 years and maybe more. I'm not quite sure. Yes, 5 years. And I really enjoy speaking it, writing it, in it. So I
That's
like
so
it.
good to hear. I think,
And
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
please.
And it's also a great opportunity to get to know more people by speaking English, because it's the international language and it's used in every platform. So whenever I want to search something in about everything, I usually write it on Google
Yeah.
in English. That's why, in because in my language there wouldn't be that much sources as they are in English. That's why I always write them in English. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, and that's very observant of you. And I think from my point of view as an English person, as a British person, we're very lazy because we know that if we go to any country in the world, anybody will speak English. There will be somebody that speaks English. So it means that we're too lazy to learn a language. But it's really good to hear that you've learned English, but you're also really enjoying learning English because of cultural reasons. And I wonder what you feel your biggest weakness is in English. What do you think is your biggest
Mm,
weakness?
it can be my insecurities about my pronunciation, and sometimes my Turkish accent comes in English,
Yeah,
appears in English. I mean, yeah, that's the
yeah.
biggest weakness of mine.
I
But point is, I really enjoy learning it, and I really enjoy challenge sometimes. Maybe that's
do you
yeah.
read literature? Do you read fiction books in English?
In English, not sometimes, but whenever I buy a book in English, I try to find it from YouTube audiobooks and read and listen at the same time.
Yeah. So you can follow the text and you're listening to the audio at the same time as following.
Yes,
That's a
yes,
really good
and
idea.
I'm stop to shadow it, imitation. I mean,
Do you
yes.
remember the last phrase or the last word in English that you didn't understand and that you had to check and find the understanding of?
Yes, always. Whenever I read a book in English, I always find some words that I don't know. And if it's not that stage book, I mean A1, A2, B1, B2 books, whenever it's like original text from the writer, it gets more complicated for me
Yeah.
to get to know all the words that are
Yeah.
used in the novel or in book. Yeah.
I think you mentioned your accent. I can hear an accent, of course, but I don't think that's a negative. I think that's just who you are. I know people that have been speaking English for 30 years and they still have their native accent. Um, and I don't think that that's something you should want to change. I just think it's who you are. But what I think is really important when you're learning any language is the idioms. It's the small words, the phrases that fit into any sentence. So it's the ums and ahs, I guess, in any language. I'm wanting to try something with you, if I may. Now, I don't know what this would be in Turkish, but hopefully you'll understand. Maybe you won't understand that this is a tongue twister. Have you heard of a tongue twister before?
Yes.
Okay,
They
wonderful.
are mostly hard to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, this is one of the most difficult tongue twisters in English. And I'm going to say it. You may have heard it before, but I'm going to say it, and then you're going to try saying this back to me. Does that sound
Okay.
okay? So, woodchuck. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Chuck he would as much as he could, and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Oh
So,
my
good
God.
luck.
Woodchuck. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would chuck, he would as much as he could, as chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Wow, that was really impressive. It's not about understanding the meaning, it's more about just working through the words, I guess.
Yeah.
We're going to try one more. For some people, this is more difficult. Maybe you've heard of this one. I don't know. Peter Piper. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Good luck.
Peter Piper. Peter Piper picked a peck of peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked?
Nice. Very good. Yeah. Again, it's a reading exercise. It's not a comprehension. It's not understanding. And some people might say that actually it doesn't really help with understanding English. But I suppose what it could do is to help you understand not Turkish, to not say things in a Turkish way, but to say in an authentically English way. So with your understanding of English, maybe in 5 years' time, are you wanting to, or 10 years' time, are you wanting to teach? Is that the aim with English, or what ultimately is your dream?
I would like to study in English as a medical student one day because my childhood dream was being a doctor. And in here, we got a university exam, which I got to take in 2 years. And there's an option as Turkish medical school and English medical school. I would like to get into English medical school.
Good.
And maybe move to some other countries. Yeah, and even if I stay in Turkey, in my country, I can get the chance of reading some other sources which are about medical, and I can really catch up on daily news in medical. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's of a very high standard in terms of comprehension because you're dealing with language which is technical. But I guess also you need to probably make sure your Latin is quite good, would you not? For medical studies. That's the other angle. Do you plan to specialize in any particular type of medicine?
I actually always think about there would be some fields that I don't know right now, so I can whenever I get into medical school, I would learn about them. And of course, there are a lot of education systems in medical schools which are really based on every single field. So
Yeah.
I have to make some observations in order to choose. That's why it's a little bit early to think about that, I think.
Of course. Yeah. I think 3, 4, 5 year, well, medical school is going to be 7 or 8 years in the future. So that's going to be a long time to think about what's going to happen in the future. So a question for you in terms of the last 10 years of your life, perhaps. Can you tell me about a memory that's probably your happiest memory of the last 10 years? Can you describe that to me?
My happiest memory of last 10 years. It's a hard question for me. I can't really think about one right now.
Okay, then we won't do that. We will go on to talking about art. Do you like art?
Yes, I do some painting. You can see one of my painting. It's a cream painting.
So is that the black and white on above that I can see with the squares?
No. Yeah, that face which makes
Oh,
this.
yeah. I can kind of see. So that's your own painting. Way.
Yeah.
Are you influenced by famous painters or do you use your own style?
I often copy the painting, that original painting, because I can't really imagine what I'm gonna paint. I just want to see the painting and do the same.
Very good. I tell you, you have to go to Paris. Paris is, of course, the main city for art. You would love it there, I'm sure. Have you ever been to France before?
No, but my dad has been there for in when he was young, and he used to say, "I went to Louvre Museum, and it was amazing. I hope you will
Yeah.
go there one day too." He always tells me
Oh,
that.
it's incredible. Well, a good tip for the Louvre, you have to get there at about 7:30 in the morning because there are so many people wanting to see the Mona Lisa and the usual things that you just have to get there really early. But there are other really amazing galleries in Paris as well. I live in the south of France. I live in a place called Carcassonne, which is a city in the south of France. And the culture of the south of my country is so different than the north of my country. So where you live, are the cultures very different as you go across to other parts of the country? And if so, in what way? Food, I guess? Language? How?
Yes, and it's actually valid in all countries. I think whenever I go the west is of Turkey and the east is of Turkey, there's a lot of big changes. You know, I am from Izmir, which is located in the
Mm.
westest of Turkey, and if I go to Erzurum, it's like in the eastest of Turkey. I would see a lot of big changes. Yeah.
Changes in terms of infrastructure and building and industry, or
Yes,
in terms of other,
everything.
yeah,
Like even language, even foods, even people,
yeah.
you know.
I think change is good as long as people understand that what they're going through is a change, that they can perceive that there is a change. Otherwise, there's no reason to change. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's always good to be able to evaluate the way where you've come from and where you're going to in the future. That's the good thing about change. So we have just 3 minutes of our, or 2 minutes of our time left. Um, is there any questions that you'd like to ask or things that you'd very quickly like to practice with me?
Yes, I've seen that you're, you know, German a little bit.
Yeah, ein
What
bisschen.
advices can you give me
In German or in English?
in in English, please?
In English. In order to learn German. Well, German and English are quite similar in terms of the way that you converse. I guess in English, the one thing I'm not sure about Turkish, but in English, of course, you only have one. You only have the. In German, you have three different articles: masculine, feminine, neuter. So you need to be thinking about the way that you change those. But in terms of German, it's probably a good thing to start to consider nouns and how similar that some of those nouns are to the English. Also auf Deutsch, man kann ein Class sprechen und dann denken, was ist in ein Class. What I just said was, in German, you can think about what is in a classroom, and then you can understand what is in the classroom. In other words, the construction is very much the same. Are you wanting to learn German?
I've been learning German for 1 year, and it's really difficult for me. I don't know. It's the constructors are really similar to English, but even though it's like that, it's really challenging for me. Like, you know, grammar rules of
Yeah.
the words, all of the words that are really long.
Something that strikes me about French, maybe, or Italian or Spanish, is that you have rules. Okay, so you know what's masculine or feminine, but oftentimes you break those rules. In German, you don't ever break the rules. They are completely set in place. So if you understand the rules, and that takes time, but if you understand the rules, you know what is der Mann or die Dame or das Hund, whatever it is. You know, you can kind of just stick to those rules. I think German, more than anything else, is about practice. It's about talking with people as much as you can. Good luck.
And it's also valid in English too.
Yeah,
Talking to
definitely.
people. Yeah.
Definitely. Something that reminds me of that in English, a phrase that is very difficult. Well, words very similar, like thought and thou and through and thorough, that look very similar to the written page,
Yes.
but sound so different. Congratulations, you've done incredibly well. Your English is, I think, probably the top that I've heard today. And I
Thank
wish you
you.
the very
You made
best with your
my day.
studies. Oh, my pleasure. If you'd like to talk again, please make a booking. It would be lovely to speak to you again. But if not, it's been really good to speak to you today.
Thank you. Nice.
Nice to meet you too. Bye, Hila. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.